Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
Hey, I can look at myself naked.
Are you stoned or something?
They tried stoning me, my dear. It did not work.
He likes to create his own sauce.
Well, did you sleep with a man who also slept with Mom and Grandma Catherine?
What? You slept with Dad?
All right. Now, which one of you sardines call this meat?
Whatever, Major Loser.
Let the party begin!
Hello, and welcome to Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. The strange protagonist in a dark, dark world. That's Chad Ackowitz.
That's Simone LaRue, and that is our guest today. Hello, Eric. How are you?
Hey guys, great. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Thank you for joining us this week.
Absolutely. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, of course. So,
I mean, we need you.
Yeah, you're the expert that we call upon.
You're our guide.
When we come to episodes like this. Simone, do you want to tell everyone what the episode is and why we called in our expert?
So we are doing probably one of the more villainized genres, which is movies based on video games.
Ain't that the truth?
And Chad and I don't really game much, so it's always highly embarrassing for us to do these episodes. And we've got people commenting like, well, if you played the game, you'd understand the nuance of the movie better. So now, like, no excuses. We've got Eric here. He knows his shit. He's gonna help us review these movies better.
Exactly. To be honest, I didn't even know Max Payne was a game. I mean, I've played Assassin's Creed 1, so I'm good there. But
Okay.
Max Payne, I've never even heard of it before today.
I heard of it, but had never played any of it. What I heard was I kind of read the box of one of them, and it kind of sounded a little bit like The Punisher. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this would be kind of up my alley, and I just never got around to playing it.
Yeah. You'd rather play Punisher. Like, if there was a Punisher game, you'd rather play that.
There is on the the original Xbox, PS2.
That's what we know.
I played the shit out of that.
Amazing. Do you know
I love that we're like, you know what would be great is a Punisher game. Like, ignorant assholes.
Come
it was
on,
actually
gaming
voiced
community.
by Thomas Jane too. So
Oh, cool.
Okay, that's
amazing. Excellent. So, in terms of the movies that we will be doing today, so we're going to be doing Assassin's Creed, which came out in 2016, and it got a Rotten Tomatoes score of 18% and an audience score of 43%, so no one liked that.
No.
And then we are doing Max Payne from 2008, which got 16% and a 29% audience score. So I think this is one of, like Simone said, the most hated genres of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think especially like from the early 2000s up to like 2015, most like comic book movies and video game movies were just a shit show. No one cared.
Yeah.
They were like, here, take this, fans. And everyone was like, please stop.
Please stop. Why are you doing this? Please.
And they've only gotten good recently, ish.
Yep.
Ish. I mean, Sonic.
Detective Pikachu started that.
Oh yeah, Detective Pikachu was lovely, and then Sonic the Hedgehog was actually really fun. I don't know.
I took my sister to see that because we both would play Sonic Adventure 2 together, and it was really good.
It is a good.
And of course, The Witcher.
Yep.
Yes, of course. I completely forgot about The Witcher because I think the series is so outside of the game, even though both are independently beautiful, that I don't really see it as part of the video game franchise, I guess. But unbelievable.
From my understanding, the series followed the books more than the games.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they definitely did. I think they did take some like artistic elements from the game. Henry Cavill definitely tried to talk more like Geralt from the games. Yeah. And it's just really fun. I like that. I'm a huge fan.
I think that's
I was actually playing Witcher 3 last night. So
so good.
I'm
so
slowly working my way through Witcher 3 because I can't sit still. I can't sit still for that long. So like I play Witcher for like 3 hours a week and I'm like, okay, that's it. I've done my gaming. It's on the easiest mode because I just want to get through the plot and I'm bad at coordination, but I love it so much. It's so fun.
It's so
it's
good
beautiful.
and it's so pretty. It is like one of the prettiest games. But I think that's the only game genre that Simone and I have both been like really invested in, to the point like we've both read the books, we've played the game, and we've watched the series. It's like the only thing that we've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty much.
I hadn't played it until recently. Kind of a behind the scenes. My birthday is actually in a couple weeks,
Hey.
and my co-host for Nintendo is nice enough to get me an early birthday present in the form of an Xbox. So
Wow.
and
So
with
you've
Game
been-
Pass, so that and it's free on Game Pass. So
That's so sweet.
What the shit, Simone? You've been giving me. You haven't given me shit.
Shut up, Eric. Don't tell you this.
I got
Sorry.
at least I got you a good birthday present last year. I got shit.
You did.
You got to
You
step
It was a
up your
running
game.
joke. There's a running
Yeah.
joke on our show where he kept saying if we got enough reviews, he would get it for me so I could play Atlas with him because he was doing an
Aw.
Atlas podcast also. And then he was just like, you know what, your birthday's coming up. You know what the hell? So
Aw, what a
That's
babe.
he's
nice.
good at saving his money, unlike me.
Aw. You see, when
Same with
all
Chad and me.
I promised Simone was that when we reached a million downloads, we would. What did I say you would do?
You were
I
gonna
said
get
you would
tattoos.
Yeah, I forced
of,
you to agree to get a tattoo against your will.
No. I've never agreed to tattoos. It's always you saying you're gonna get tattoos.
Yeah, I said
Don't
we,
start with
which
me.
is us. And,
Like a
so-
collective one, like a shared one.
Yeah, Simone has to get it as well. Like, so I've realized through you coming on the podcast that both Simone and I are awful people. So
Yeah, we're terrible co-hosts.
Thanks for
we got our
revealing
first
that.
tattoos together. They just had nothing to do with each other. But we walked into the tattoo parlor together, and we're like, "Hi, I'd like a tattoo."
Yeah, I actually, my first one I got right after my wife and I got married. I would never in my life have dreamed that I would have gotten one
That's so
because I
nice.
had a phobia with needles.
All right.
And now I've got
You barely
5.
see the needle.
Yeah. Well,
it's
yeah.
it's a little
But,
addictive.
And then it
And now I
becomes
have
super
5, which
Yep.
is a good thing because that actually cleared up my phobia. And I actually ended up in
Very
the hospital a few years after that with appendicitis, and they were constantly coming in and jabbing me with needles. I'm like, yeah, sure, what the hell, go ahead. I don't care.
I've got tattoos.
Get all those needles. So before we jump into who goes first, I wanted to ask you guys, what video game would you like to be seen turned into a movie? If there was like one video game that you could think of.
Like a
And-
good movie, though.
Yeah, like we're talking like
Yeah.
Witcher level or like Sonic level or Detective
Mm.
Pikachu level.
You're really assuming that you know what? I would really like, I used to play this as a kid. I used to play Curse of Monkey Island.
I've never heard of
I'm
that
not familiar
before.
with that. Yeah.
It's okay,
You've
let
stumped
me
us.
explain. It's like it's you follow this guy, his name is Guybrush Threepwood, like through the pirate infested waters of the Caribbean. And
Amazing.
it's all animated. It's like all puzzles. Like it's like, you randomly
mm.
pick up this diamond in an earlier thing, and then you have to figure out to use that on the window of
Yeah.
the ship to like get off the ship and like stuff like that. It's just like, it was so silly and self-aware and fun. I think it was a LucasArts game.
Amazing.
Okay.
And I got endless hours of enjoyment from it.
Yeah, that could be good fun then. It sounds very Croc-esque.
If you say so.
How about you, Eric? What would you like
So-
to see?
I think one of the biggest problems with turning a video game into a movie is it's hard to do it justice in the amount of
Yeah.
time you have with the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
So they actually just announced that Fallout is going to be turned into a
Yes, I
series
saw.
on Amazon.
Interesting.
Which is
Interesting.
exciting.
So it's going to be done by the guys who do Westworld. So
Oh, cool. Okay, so it
that'll
should be pretty good.
awesome. If I had to pick though, I'd probably say Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, that would be good.
Like, I think that actually could be really good as a movie.
That would be so sick. And you know what? They
Which-
keep making Star Wars movies, so why not? You know?
Yeah,
When
but they
we're never
don't do
gonna have an end.
anything in that era. It's always
Mm.
like future, like the next thing down the line.
Yeah.
So if they did like a standalone Knights of the Old Republic, I think that'd be pretty sweet.
I would watch the crap out of that. That would be really good. Yeah.
And Chad?
It has to be a really obscure game, Wolfenstein, which is
Oh.
like,
Oh, I
I
don't know
don't-
how obscure that is.
well, it's not so obscure, but like I think the movie would be really obscure. Like it would just be so wonderful to see like steampunk Nazis. Like that's what I
No.
loved about the game,
Okay,
and then
so-
like sort of Duke Nukem kind of vibes with it, just like kicking steampunk Nazi ass.
That was actually one of my questions. Like, there's the older game, which took place during World War II, and then there's the more recent games where it's an alternate reality where it takes place in the present. Or, well, the first game took place in the 60s, and then the next one took place in the 80s, but it's in an alternate reality where the Nazis won.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Oh.
No, because I think it's got to be while the Nazis are still, like, hanging out and stuff. You know,
Start off during World War II.
Yeah, that would be fun.
And then go from there.
Yeah. I think that would be a bloody good movie, especially like steampunk. That's always fun. You can't go wrong with steampunk. Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
No. All right, so what is everyone drinking? Let's decide who gets to go first. Eric, what are you drinking today?
I'm actually drinking Steel Reserve beer. So apparently it's a little bit higher in alcohol than I expected. It's 8.1.
That is a high beer. Jesus.
Be careful with that.
Yeah. And
I guess
you do need a Steel Reserve to watch these two movies.
I hate it.
Simone, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Hunter's Dry, which is a cider for the uninitiated.
Uncultured swine.
It is very nostalgic for me because I drank it so much as a student. So like the taste just reminds me of like shitty dive bars.
Amazing. The Great Wazoo.
The Great Wazoo. It comes in at 5.5% apparently.
Damn. Okay.
So just a good time.
Fair enough. Well, long rule Britannia, he says, because he is drinking a pink gin with lemonade.
Ooh. Look at him.
The most British drink there is.
Very summery.
Which, I mean, it is English summer because it is raining. So, you know, as it is. But that
the best 3 days of the year.
It is. It really is. We get to wear our short shorts for 3 days and then back into the cupboard with you. So I guess I go first because of 37.5%, which should be fun because I have been so busy this week that I have not written a synopsis, which, as we know, unlike Simone, I am truly shit at coming up with synopses on the fly.
I forgot to double check which movie.
Oh, Simone, no. I'm doing Assassin's Creed.
Oh, you're doing Assassin's Creed?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Thank God. I thought so.
You should have checked with me. Why did you check with me this week?
I was convinced I was right, and I was, but the doubt crept in. Because I had to write a synopsis for Max Payne because I had no fucking clue what was going on.
No, me neither. Jesus. But how great would it have been if I had called your bluff on that instead of doing one for Max Payne? I should have thought ahead. Damn it.
To capture my face on YouTube as you said it too.
I would just play that over and over again whenever I was feeling sad. All right, so Assassin's Creed, here we go. We're going to give us, this is my best shot at it, so good lord. Okay, so the movie starts in 15th century Spain. The Templars have invaded the last freehold of free thinking, and they are trying to locate the Apple of Eden, which allegedly, once found, would be able to control the free will of all people. The Templars want it to alleviate pain and resistance to any free thought, so that basically the Templars can control everyone through their, holy war, so that everyone will be Christian, and hey-ho, the Christians win everything. Unfortunately, because of a secret band of people known as the Assassin's Creed, they are unable to do so because these cool, super hip ninjas are able to murder everyone who kind of stands in the way of doing that kind of thing. So then we jump to the present day-ish, and we meet, what's his name? Cal Lynch. Cal Lynch, who's younger person, I don't know who's played by. We meet him, he's sort of a latchkey kid, he kind of does his own thing, and he comes home to find that his father has murdered his mother. He then goes on the run and sort of lives as an orphan for years. We then flip forward more into the future to grown-up Cal Lynch, played by Michael Fassbender. He's sort of this ragtag kind of guy. He's in prison for who knows what, when suddenly he's being put to death. So I guess his crime was murder. That would make sense. he gets taken to the sort of lethal injection chamber. It looks like he's died, but he's then transferred to another facility where he meets go away zoom Mary. Oh fuck, what's happened? Sorry. Where he meets Sophia, played by Marion Cotillard. She is the facilitator of a thing called, I have no idea what it's called. What's the
Animus? Is that what you're thinking of?
Well, no, that's the
that's
device. Yeah, that's the machine. What's the...
You can just call...
The facility. We'll call it
the facility.
The facility. Okay, at the facility, they have a machine called the Animus, which is able to transport you into the memories of past selves. The idea being that in your DNA, you have all the memories of your genetic predecessors. And hey-ho, Cal's predecessors were part of this Assassin's Creed. So what's her name wants? Fuck, I'm no good at this.
We edit this all together later, and it is seamless.
Thanks to Simone.
Sophia?
Seamless. Sophia, yes. So what Sophia wants, it turns out, is she is one of the Templars of the New Age, and she wants to use Cal's memories to find his past assassin, whose name was Aguilar, to find out where they buried the apple so that she can get it, and then the Templars can achieve their mission, which was to destroy free will. He goes into the Animus, he merges with it, all this shenanigans happen, it's pretty crazy, lots of action stunts, lots of murder, pretty great, and then at the end, basically, they find where the Apple of Eden is. It's buried with Columbus, which is, I kind of guess, really appropriate, seeing as we're recording this on the on July 4th, Independence Day. Kind of all works together, seamless. That's how we did it. They find the apple. So now Sophia presents it to the High Council of the Templars. Everything looks hunky-dory for the Templars. Oh no, free will's going out the window, when Cal suddenly decides that he wants to be part of his assassin's roots, and he decides to kill everyone and escape with the apple. Movie ends. Ta-da. Fuck it.
Ta-da. Well done, Chad. What's
Jazz
your
hands.
cliffhanger?
So my cliffhanger is any bit where Sophia and my cliffhanger has to be this one, and it's any bit where Sophia is just talking with Cal, and it's just the most ridiculous bits, because like their conversation makes no sense whatsoever. It's like there's that one bit where he's like, you want to live but you won't live, or something like that, and it's just like, what?
Yeah.
So I think the biggest problem for me in this movie was the fact that the dialogue made no sense throughout. How did everyone else feel?
It was very exposition-y dialogue, like the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's this? Why are we doing this again? What's our mission again?
But even so, how hard was it for people to understand this movie? Because like the really key points are never explained.
No, and like the way the Animus works, I never played the first game, but the games that I've played, the Animus, I guess, was more of an upgraded version where it almost looked like a tanning bed. And so like a virtual reality machine as to something that actually, they have to inject into your body or whatever.
Yeah,
and he doesn't actually go through and do the movements.
The whole crane arm Animus felt really pointless, because they keep like switching between like the fight scenes and like what he's doing on the Animus, and you're like, wait, but like logistically how? Yeah,
and it's like it looks like working? Really bad VR. Like it's all like, because like it's these spotlights that show the video of his mind, and even that doesn't really make sense, because like if he's grabbing something, even though it looks like it's there, the projection is there, you're not actually going to grab it. So it's like this. So for him, it's like a certain bit of playing along. So like half the movie, he's like, the whole bit is him being reluctant to do it, but he still is playing along. He's not actually doing the thing. So he's still like grappling with things that don't exist, which makes no sense.
It's very distracting.
Yeah.
And another thing, the games take place at least 90% in the past, not so much the present.
Yes.
Although I think in the first one, Desmond Miles, who's like the main protagonist in the first few games, like like the Ezio trilogy, Aguilar and Altair and the Kenways. In the first game, he is pretty reluctant to get into it, but he does like accept it more as time goes on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no,
I haven't really played anything past that.
I played the first one, and it was really fun. Like, I mean, it got a bit repetitive, but the whole idea behind the first one was like you go into the Animus and you are actually that person, which is a kind of idea, and it's a chair that you go into, and it's you know the whole the whole premise of the games is, you know, look at birds. And the fact is, like, birds from a very early age automatically know that they need to migrate, automatically know how to fly. And so that's part of their DNA, which is what the premise is. So what the Animus does is it locks into those DNA parts of you, which are instinctual, and that's where the memories come from. And that's the whole idea.
And then you do
I wasn't going to touch the science of this.
I think you should.
Because that would imply there is some. But I'm going to briefly say that that's not how genes work, nor is it how the brain works.
Well, obviously,
One thing I do like about the Crane thing and him actually acting out the memories is, if you think about it, like, just because your brain knows how to do something doesn't mean your body is capable of doing certain things unless you do have that training. So I do kind of like that, where he is kind of like building up his like muscle memory.
Yeah,
and all that.
that's actually a good point. Like, I guess it's like, you know, someone being plugged into the Matrix, like just because they've come out of the Matrix where they've been fighting and stuff doesn't mean their body is at all ready for that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a good point.
So I was thinking about that while I was watching it last night. I was like, I actually do kind of like that aspect.
And I mean, we got to see Michael Fassbender so shirtless so often. So
and I mean, that's the dream, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest.
Really.
And I think the world has come to realize this. He's not a very good actor.
No.
One thing I was curious about, though, is why did he play both characters? Because in the games, it's not the same.
Yeah, they're two different guys.
But they didn't want to confuse the audience too much.
Yeah, because it's not really explained that Cal is Aguilar, or whatever his name is. Like, the three things that are really important for you to understand is what the Animus does, why they're there, and the fact that there's a connection between them because they're family. And that isn't really explained at any point in this film.
No.
Especially because, like, he then finds out that they had his dad at the facility the whole time, and it's like, okay, well then why didn't they just, like, surely his dad would have the exact same genetic memories.
Right.
So why wouldn't they just use him?
At the beginning, I kind of thought maybe his dad was a Templar. But they eventually do kind of show that his mom was an assassin also, because they showed that memory of her.
Yeah.
So
it's all just nonsense, essentially. Like, the whole thing is just plain nonsense.
I will say, though, that some of the chase scenes and fight scenes were really cool.
Yes.
I wish they had spent more time on them, because, like, that's what makes Assassin's Creed really cool, is like all the parkour and the chasing and like the weird fight moves with the assassin's blade. Like, that's what you want to see.
Right.
You don't really care about all the other stuff.
I did like the trust fall shots also.
Yeah, those were beautiful.
Like, they even had the sound effect of it, like that whistle falling sound.
That was that was the thing I was going to say, because, like, halfway through the movie I was getting really annoyed because, you know, the trust fall into the hay barrels and things is like one of the biggest parts of Assassin's Creed, and they weren't doing it, and then they did it, and I was like, hey, that's cool.
There she is.
Yeah, I think it lost, like someone was saying, like, it lost the beauty of the games in the fact that, like, in the games you get tasked with assassinating people.
Yeah.
And where was the assassinations?
It was a very specific plot. Again, much like Prince of Persia, like, the thing that made that game interesting was much the same, like the really acrobatic fighting and running and going through traps and stuff like that. And they spent a very brief amount of time on that. But sorry.
There's a cat.
My bunny? No, you can't. No, you.
I'm surprised
You can't
neither of
be
my
here.
pets have.
Yeah, where are the babies?
Pippa is on
Be
a
here.
chair, and Yoda's, I think, in his bed.
I'll grab my pet since
Okay,
we're
there we
taking
go.
a pet break.
Yeah, I think Yoda's bundled up in his Union Jack blanket. So.
Okay.
Adorable.
So. Oh, God, no, Magnus, no. You can go this way. You cannot go that way. Christ. Okay. As with Prince of Persia, where it was like all about also the really acrobatic fight scenes and like wall running and traps and things and puzzles and things like that. They spent like 5 seconds on it, and the rest of the time they spent trying to justify the plot. And you're like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, exactly. You're
no
so
one
right.
cares.
Yeah. I mean, by show of hands, who cares about the love interest in this fucking film? No one? You cared?
No. Well, I thought she was a little cool. She had a cool fight, and then she just like dies at the end. And
I know.
Like,
I was really upset by that.
yeah, especially because she's like, you know, like I'm dying so that you can like get away with this thing. And then he's like all mad, so he decides to like kill all of them. And it's like, dude, this is like the opposite of what she wanted you to do.
It's very uncreedish as well. Like,
yeah,
it goes against everything they stand for. It was very weird. But what did you like about it? Let's pull good things.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did like Simone was saying, I did like the fight scenes. You play these games more to experience the past.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, I did when they were actually showing the scenes with Aguilera, I like that a little bit more than just watching him act out the movements in the game. The trust fall, definitely. Some of the actual assassination shots where they're jumping off a ledge onto somebody, that was cool. So yeah, I think they need to spend a little bit more time in the past than they did.
Yeah. Especially like the weird setups they had at the end, like all of the other people who were like assassins in their past lives who have apparently been allowed to A, stay alive, and B, keep training and stay fit and healthy with these memories of being assassins.
I did like
and
that
C,
final battle sequence. They've
got
that was cool.
all of their old weapons in easy to access display cases.
Right. Like the smoke bombs and the blades.
What were the Templars thinking? And at first I was like, oh, it's quite nice that they keep them alive. But at the same time, it's really dumb.
The rope dart. Yeah, especially when you find out that Jeremy Irons was the guy behind it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which, fun fact with him, the main antagonist in Assassin's Creed 2, you come to find out, is Rodrigo Borgia. Well, my wife used to watch a show called The Borgias, and Jeremy Irons actually played Rodrigo Borgia.
Oh,
so there's a nice little
all comes together.
There, yep.
It all comes together. How did you feel about the surprise appearance of Christopher Columbus?
At the very beginning, they said that the year was 1492.
Yeah.
Oh, right, when he crossed the
Columbus
ocean.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I was like,
is there a rhyme for that? Am I just like a moron?
Yes.
That's great. Oh, look at that. You learn something every day.
So I was like, okay, maybe, I don't know, that's kind of an interesting year to just kind of pull out of the hat. So
I was watching it with Rudy, and like when he's handing off the apple to like, you know, the hooded stranger, Rudy was like, haha, what if it's Columbus? And I was like, fuck off, it is not Columbus. That would be so dumb.
Amazing.
And then he's like, oh, I follow the sun. And you're like, oh,
shut up. Shut your damn mouth, Columbus. What are you doing
assholes.
in this stupid movie?
And then they like realized that like the apple's in a church in Seville. And apparently all they had to do was like go up to the priests there and be like, hey, did Columbus leave anything with you?
Like the whole thing
I love
is
how
like
there was that callback to the apple from the lunchroom that guy gave him during.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun. So I mean,
Just-
the first game is set in Israel, as far as I remember. So do you think that was a political decision to just step away from the
I
whole
think they were
Israel
just like, you
thing?
know what? Let's not.
We're not going to touch this. We're out.
Mm-mm.
We're not doing this. I think that was a wise decision, if not a cowardice decision.
Not to base it on any specific game. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. Scenes that could have saved it. What's everyone feeling? If there could have been, because I don't know really.
I think they could have cut out a lot of the scenes with Marianne Cotillard, much as I love her.
Mhm.
Because it was fairly pointless.
Yeah.
I also like by the end, you really still don't know anything about Cal. Like, he's like some dude who apparently had a tragic past.
Mhm.
And is a very violent dude, and he's like still having like these weird philosophical debates with her, but they're not really debates. He's just like, that's your idea's kind of dumb, but okay, like and then he's like, oh, I actually think free will is probably a good idea, and you get to the end and you still know very little about him actually.
Exactly. Like he was a murderer at the beginning of the film, and then he was a murderer at the end of the film.
And I guess you're supposed to think he's like spunky because when he was a kid he tried to do jumps on his bike, which was so pointless.
Yeah, so I guess you have a really decent point there of just like get rid of her, even though she like what was her role? Like she was supposed to be like the redemption, and then she just like falls at the final hurdle. I don't know. She's weird. Anyway, how about you?
It was not well thought out.
Yeah, they didn't really explain much about him. Like, they never explained what he was doing and what he was on death row for.
Yeah.
What his dad was there for. What happened, like why his dad really, they didn't really explain why his dad killed his mom.
Yeah.
But like I said, more people play the games to experience the past more. Like they get to interact with these historical figures. Like one of the games I actually played the whole way through is Assassin's Creed 3. And that takes place during what we call the Revolutionary War. I'm sure England might call it the Civil War. I don't know.
We call it the Dumb War. We call it the stupid, like, selfish, dumb, poopy head war.
We didn't even want to win it.
That's something like they never really like it. That's something they don't really explain in schools, is they don't say, okay, this might be taught differently in another country, but here it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you guys even do it in like history? I know you weren't like in the UK for a lot of your schooling, Chad, but
not as far as I remember, to be fair. And I don't think I think we glanced over that one. I think we try to ignore all the colonial shit, to be honest with you.
You try to ignore all the times you've really lost and all the war crimes.
Yeah, we try to just glance over that and just focus on the really positive bits, like the Queen, and that's it. I think
I'd save the Queen.
I think there's two things that have really like, sort of brought up sort of American history throughout the UK and throughout, that's Hamilton and Assassin's Creed. And those two things alone.
My wife and I actually got Disney Plus yesterday, and Hamilton is on there.
Yes.
She's been wanting to watch that.
Yes, it's very good. I was able to see the stage show. I was fortunate enough to see the stage show, and it's amazing. I know. So Eric, what's your scene that could have saved it if there was one?
Probably just more, past, or like more with Aguilar. So I think they did make a good decision in not basing it on any specific game and going with a new story. But most of the movie took place in the present. Yeah. So I think it just needed more of what they're like, researching the past.
And what people actually want to see.
Yeah.
Which is cool assassinations in the past.
They did.
None of the normal boring shit.
They did distinguish between the two characters by giving Aguilar brown contacts, or
and a
guyliner when he was Aguilar. But hey,
He had a bit more of a tan, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of
They were like, "This is
Facial
ethnic,
hair.
right?"
stubble.
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, they probably should have fleshed out why Cal is important to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from him being a descendant of Aguilar, but I think they needed more from the past.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
no, completely agree.
Put my hand
Completely
on my
agree.
face.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think for me, it would have been just like a really clear explanation of why things are happening. Sort of like, he arrives at the facility. Oh, this is the Animus. This is what it does. This is why we're doing it. Cool. Excellent. Why are you involved? Excellent. Explained. Done. Let's go to the past now. And then just deal with it and stay there until right at the end. That's it. Cool. Excellent. Done. But no, like, yeah, whatever. Would you guys watch it again?
No.
No.
I prefer Michael Fassbender in X-Men, to be honest.
Yes.
I have to agree with that.
Yes.
He's a great Magneto.
Yeah. I think that was his starring role, and he can't be anything else, really.
Oh, no.
It's sad, but it's true.
Didn't he play, like, Macbeth or Hamlet?
Yeah.
One of those?
They actually, Marion, whatever her name is, he actually recruited from when he was on Macbeth.
Ah.
Oh, cool.
I was reading that on IMDb while I was watching the movie.
You do so
That's
much
what
more
we
prep
do
than
as
we do.
well when we watch the movies. Is
Yes.
like scroll the IMDb pages.
Well, that was Assassin's Creed, everyone. Thank you for joining us into that
Easy breezy.
weird past present mix. So tell us, Simone, take us through Mark Wahlberg's finest hour in Max Payne.
I trimmed a lot of the fat on this plot because,
as you should.
Okay.
Good luck.
Okay. So Max Payne, played by Mark Wahlberg, is a man obsessed with revenge after the brutal killing of his wife and child. His obsession has ruined his career and his relationship with his old partner, but he cannot stop looking. One night, when Max is trying to shake down a local snitch for leads, he meets Natasha Sachs, played by Olga Kurylenko, and her sister Mona, played by Mila Kunis. Max takes Natasha back to his place because he has questions about the wing tattoo on her arm and the apparent illegal drugs being traded at the club. Instead, Natasha tries to get Max to have sex with her, so he kicks her out. The next morning, Natasha is found brutally murdered, and Max is, of course, implicated. Max's old partner, Alex, played by Donald Logue, helps Max investigate the case and finds that a tattoo on one of the men responsible for Max's wife's murder matches the tattoo on Natasha. But before he can tell Max, he too is horribly murdered, and Max is viciously attacked in his apartment. Once leaving the hospital, Max runs into Mona, who believes Max killed her sister. He convinces her instead that they're both looking for the same person and need to work together. In their investigation, they discover a new drug on the streets called Valkyr, which is highly addictive but gives people nightmarish visions of angels and demons. The drug was leaked from Acer Pharmaceuticals, the company where Max's wife used to work. It turns out that the drug was initially developed by the military to create stronger soldiers, but was only effective in 1% of patients. The rest were all driven mad by their visions. They shut down the drug, but in a surprise twist, it turns out that Max's mentor, Bebe Hensley, played by Beau Bridges, was leaking the drug onto the streets for profit. Max's wife had noticed the stock missing, and Bebe had her killed before she revealed his plot to anyone else. Max, furious at this betrayal, goes on a Valkyr-fueled rampage and kills all those responsible for the death of his wife, as well as the distribution of the drug on the streets. As the movie ends, though, we see that Acer Pharmaceuticals is still as successful as ever, and it is clear Max intends to take them down. The end.
Way, very nice. What's your cliffhanger?
It's gonna be this one, which is the scene where Mila Kunis is like interrogating Max Payne because like she still thinks he killed, and like the dialogue is just so bad.
I mean, Mila Kunis is now a friend of the show, I guess, because of American Psycho 2. But good lord, oh man.
I don't know if Mark Wahlberg was like the best casting choice for this, because all of the costumes and dialogue and stuff sounded like it was not intended for Mark Wahlberg.
It was more Sin City vibes than than anything.
I will say the cinematography was very cool.
Yes.
I'll give them that. And then all the angels, demons, like visuals were very exciting. If only the script did it any justice.
Yes.
That was really weird because it looked like they were being killed by the actual visions at the beginning. So I'm like, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
And they don't
here?
really address, like, is it like a blurred line between dreams and reality, or are they like actually seeing things that are there? And I suppose it's supposed to be like ambiguous, but you're also just like, wait, so it's just a drug?
Yeah, it's really, really confusing, especially that bit where that guy gets like taken out of his window and like dragged out by one of the Valkyrie. Like, that made no sense given the larger
the guy
thing.
Made it look like he was being pulled out of the window by one of those things.
And it was actually
on the car.
Yeah, and it was actually just like, no, he just fell.
No, he was just having a bad trip. Which also, I think they fundamentally misunderstand addiction, because they're like, oh, it's such an addictive drug, but it gives people really bad trips. And it's like, then it's going to be hard for it to be addictive.
Right.
If people think that they're going to die the whole time, they're not going to take it again.
Exactly. It's not like if you look at PCP, which is just like fucking crazy drugs. Like, people aren't just like, oh, you got to try that PCP stuff, man. So
can't get enough of
addictive. We love that PCP. Yeah. Like, it made no sense. Although, I must say, it looked very cool, and you can imagine it had like a really nice flavor just from like the color of it, that really nice like blue, like Gatorade blue. I was just like, I could probably get a bit of blue crush in my drug. That sounds delightful.
The other thing that was weird was that they make it seem like the drug is some sort of like super soldier serum. Because Mark Wahlberg actually was able to survive freezing to death in that lake, and yet people are like being killed left and right by it. So it's all really confusing.
Yeah, it feels like, because like when
I
they
mean,
do
there are also about like 50 extra characters that don't need to be there for this plot to move forward.
Yeah, like the guy who's like the ambassador for this drug, the soldier. Like, I have so many issues with that guy, but my biggest problem with the drug as well is it's just basically cocaine, right? It fills you with this like ridiculous courage. So why didn't they just get cocaine? Like, it makes no sense.
I'm pretty sure that's why the deal with the military fell through. The military was like, listen, we're just going to give them cocaine. Like, we can't handle this like vision shit.
Cocaine, they've just got all the confidence. They're just kissing the enemy.
Or meth.
So yeah, it's almost like is this a cult also? Like, you have to
exactly. Like
because everybody has to
weird
get that tattoo.
And then the tattoos. So so we're supposed to believe that Max Payne, who's been utterly obsessed with his wife's death for like 3 years, didn't somehow connect the first of all, like, the tattoo on the dude who murdered her with like literally the logo of the company his wife worked for until way later, even though like they sent him cards. They were clearly really involved with his grieving process.
He is a bad cop.
And then his buddy's the one who has to point out like, oh, hey, that prostitute you had in your house, she had the same tattoo as the guy who murdered your wife. And that was like the big discovery that his friend made, that he couldn't be allowed to tell Max.
It was completely bonkers. Like, the whole story is just like, wait, what? Why is this happening?
The thing is, like, all of this stuff would make sense in a video game because it's just like dialogue and stuff to get you through to the next fight scene or like the next like mission or whatever. But like in a movie, you're just like, wait, so why am I here? Like, what? Yeah. What is the purpose of this?
Like I said, I've never played the Max Payne series. I know there's at least 3 games in the series, so maybe it, explains things more as you go along. But I wouldn't know.
No. I loved Ludacris in this. Ludacris coming up out of nowhere.
Ludacris showing up.
It's a very star-studded cast. Like,
yeah, it's a really, really good cast. I love how whenever they're trying to make Mila Kunis look serious in movies, she has to have her hair back.
Oh yeah, that's serious Mila Kunis, and
That's
then
how you know.
fun Mila Kunis has got her hair down.
Yeah.
Also, whenever Mila Kunis needs to be serious, she's Russian.
Yeah.
And, does she speak Russian? Does anyone
Russian?
know?
Yes, she does. She actually is Russian, I believe. She speaks Russian on Family Guy a couple of times.
I think she's Ukrainian.
So
I don't know.
No, the girl who played her sister, though, she was also in the first Hitman movie.
Yes. Which we reviewed before.
And she played basically the same character. She
Yes.
tries to sleep with Agent 47. He's like, get out of here. He actually knocks her out, so she leaves him alone.
Which is
especially so he brings her back to his place, and he's really annoyed that she thinks he wants to have sex with her.
And he's just like, nope.
And it's yeah, that's why most dudes bring her back to their place. Just talk to her for 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I feel for her because as Eric pointed out, she's always the one who's gets to the batting cage and then doesn't get to hit. Right. She's always just she needs her sexual satisfaction too. It's not all about the guy, and yet she's a
beautiful
yeah,
woman.
She's not beautiful. It's
it makes no sense. I'm very confused. But what really annoyed me, and I'm surprised Simone hasn't brought this up yet, is the video of the super soldier getting asked questions about the drug, and how they phrased the questions to him, which was just basically on a scale of 10 to 10, how much did you enjoy the drug? Was basically
that's
the question.
Just good marketing, Chad.
That drove me crazy. They were just from happy to very happy. How satisfied were you with this, with your intake of this drug? I was well, that's a pretty loaded question, my friends.
Again, that's the wonderful world of marketing and market research.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought that guy was Cain Velasquez for about half a second. He's an MMA fighter.
Maybe that would have resulted in cooler fight scenes. I don't know.
Yes. Let's talk about the fight scenes. How did everyone feel
I first
about
want to
them?
talk about the audacity to put Mark Wahlberg, who is basically a human rectangle, in a polar neck and long leather trench coat, like he is a slender man. I just they should I understand it's cold and he needs to be warm, but the wardrobe people had clearly never seen Mark in their lives.
No, it was obviously his
not a look
serious
for him.
look. It was his serious look. Everyone knows that once you're in a polo neck, you're either
he was
into
gonna go
jazz.
to a slam poetry meet.
Yes, that was
especially when he was Marky Mark during his rap days.
Unbelievable.
Can you imagine?
He probably
him in
tries
a
to
fucking
forget those.
polar neck, trying to keep his neck warm.
Yeah, it's it was weird because at the beginning of the movie, it didn't look like it was winter, but then as the movie went on, it was nothing but snow.
Yeah. It's a lazy choice, but it drove that plot thought forward. It really pushed it.
Especially when it drove him to take the Valkyrie drug or whatever it is.
Fight scenes, what did we think?
What fight scenes? Can we just say that? They were really basic, shitty scenes that made no sense.
And then
in
he
the
has this
grand
emotional showdown at the end, and it's okay.
The bullets were pretty fun. How they shot each other and that looked cool. Very good, precise aim.
That's apparently part of the games.
Yeah,
oh, really?
From what I read on IMDb, a lot of slow-mo is used in the games during fight scenes, but this didn't really do much of
that. No, I think, and that's the big problem, isn't it, with video game adaptations of movies, is they abstract so much from the game that it all the things that you want to feel from the games are taken out. In contrast to that, Doom which we've spoken about on the podcast, that final scene in Doom where they do like the whole first person vision thing is really cool. And that's
Fucking
what the
cool.
fans wanted.
Yep.
And then in this and Assassin's Creed as well, it was just like, well, we'll just do a thing and we'll call it the game and people will give us money.
There's like this thing where the directors want it to be like a serious action movie. And it's like, but you have to embrace like the campier elements of a video game. Like you have to just understand that it's got to be these like gratuitous fight scenes and like first person point of view and like slow motion. Like you just have to embrace that because that's what people want. No one wants the plot like excruciatingly explained to you by Ludacris.
I want with a lot of video games, they just give you the plot at the beginning and they'll let you figure out the rest of it.
Excellent.
So. Yeah, and I think maybe that's why Sonic the Hedgehog and Detective Pikachu did so well, because they were so devoid of what you did in the games that people were just like, all right, cool, they're just doing their own thing and they're kind of reinventing this whole thing for movies, but they're not relying on the game itself. Like with Pokemon, like with Detective Pikachu, it was just like, cool, this dude has turned into a Pokemon and this is what we're going to do. It's more of a literal detective story than it is a Pokemon story, even though Pokemon are involved. There's literally no fighting, and they make that very clear from the beginning. They're just like, guys, we do not fight in this movie. Fighting is illegal. Yeah. And then in Sonic, they were just like, well, we need a fun way to introduce Dr. Eggman, so this is what we're going to do, and that's it. And it was just really fun.
I love how they actually called him Robotnik, too, because I grew up knowing him as Robotnik. It's like, hey, this might actually work better if you roll yourself up into a ball and launch yourself. Jim Carrey was fantastic.
Jim Carrey was fantastic in that. It was probably like old school Jim Carrey kind of hilarity.
Yep.
Yeah. So scenes that could have saved it. Eric, what do you think?
I don't know.
Where do you start?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question, isn't it?
I guess the thing you just need to do is turn your brain off when you're watching this and not think about it too much.
Don't think about it.
Because otherwise you'll just find yourself questioning everything. But,
I was only half paying attention when I watched it, and even I was like, wait, hang the fuck on.
Yeah, how does this all happen? I'm very confused. Yeah, I watched it this morning, and it was literally just like scene to scene, and it was very confusing. So yeah, so cohesive plot, I agree.
I actually had trouble finding it. Like I couldn't find it on any streaming service. My library didn't have it. I had to rent it on Amazon.
No, damn.
But
we apologize.
Oh no! It's in the director's cut. You actually had to buy it. I'm like, I don't think I'm.
How about you, Swain?
Yeah.
What's your scene that could have saved it, Swain?
Oh my god. I mean, I wanted them to cut out a bunch of scenes. Like, there's so much extra shit that doesn't even need to be there, and they could have made room for like more fun fight scenes or like better explanations of things or anything.
Yeah.
Like Mila Kunis's character was pretty much irrelevant. Like at the end, she's like, "Oh, I'll hold them off for you while you finish your crusade or whatever." Agnes,
I forgot about her for a minute.
Yeah, she contributes actually nothing.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And I think that's where my scene that could have saved it comes in as well, is the fact like I wanted it like to save it. I think they should have just gone like full on OTT. Like you take Valkyrie, 1% of people who take it are immune and they're amazing fighters and they just go crazy. The other 99% who take it turn into demons. They literally turn into the demons that hunt you down.
Just change the whole plot.
Kind of like what The Rock did in Doom.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Just like
so turn it into Doom.
Turn it. Yeah, I want to see this film, but I don't, and I want to see
get The Rock
Doom
in there.
instead.
We know he can rock a polar neck.
Not the second Doom movie that they recently released on Netflix, but
Oh, I didn't know there was another Doom. I now
Future
absolutely
episode.
need to see it.
I think it's
Future
called
episode.
Aftermath, Doom Aftermath. I don't
Gross.
know. I haven't watched it, but I think it's a
Gotta know.
Netflix exclusive.
Gross. So would you guys watch this again?
No.
Yeah, probably not.
Absolutely not. It's the fact that like
No.
it took so long to find it in the first place, and like the effort to enjoyment ratio is just disgusting.
Very high.
Yeah. Well, there you go, guys. That's two huge negatives from the video game team today. But don't let that disparage you. There is hope, as we've seen and as we've mentioned with Detective Pikachu and Sonic the Hedgehog. There is light at the end of the tunnel in terms of video game movies in the future. And I mean, we are getting another Sonic movie allegedly.
Yeah.
Which could be really, really fun. And we'll see what
Maybe
they
they'll
do.
actually take us to Mobius.
That would be cool. That would be very interesting. So let's talk about ourselves, I guess. How is everyone? What is everyone's optimistic things for the week?
Oh, I finally had that tenant in the main house move out this week. She left on
Yay.
Wednesday.
Unbelievable! Congratulations, that's huge.
God.
Oh my
Oh,
god! I hope she
I'm
goes
not
straight
going to
back
go
to
into
hell.
like the whole story on the podcast, but like we basically had a crazy tenant living on the same property as us, like who made our lives very difficult.
To say the
And
least.
then she was supposed to only be there for a month, and she just refused to leave on the second month, and it was really hard to evict her. So she was essentially squatting and making our lives difficult, and she left on Wednesday. Oh,
Simone.
I feel so much better.
You must like
Thank
huge weight off your shoulders. Like that must be
Literally.
crazy.
We ordered pizza
Dude.
Wednesday night and just like relaxed.
I'm so happy for you. Well done. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so good.
That's not like you can go out to a restaurant and drink.
That's
celebrate
fine.
somehow.
small
Our
victory.
house is the best restaurant in town.
Yeah, Shay Simrud. What was it?
We go with Ramon.
I mean, that's much better than anything I just came up with. So yeah, I like it. How about you, Eric? What's your optimistic thing for this week?
Well, my wife has been home, not because school year's over and everything. So she's had some time to just sit and think about what to do around the apartment. So last night we rearranged a few things, and we actually set up a wall mount for our TV.
Oh, great!
Fancy.
Another thing is with it being the 4th of July, we had an extra day off this week, but our paid time off refreshed, so I'm taking 2 extra days off to just
nice.
sit
Beautiful.
and do nothing. So took 1 day off last week, and I'm taking the first day of next week off. So
Nice.
Celebrate
long
that
weekend.
sweet,
Bit of
sweet
time to
independence.
recharge, yes.
Good. I'm
So-
glad. Yes, because it must be tough with what you do and everything, and like the stress of all of it, and the stress of with your wife and everything that's been going on, and like it must be nice to just take that time to just breathe.
When did kids start liking being in the school building?
When they were
Like,
stuck at home for 3
Kids
months.
try getting into the school any way they can. So even when school's not in session, they'll try coming in so they can use the gym to play basketball or just like roam around the school. I'm like,
I mean, that's
you
adorable, but
when I was in school, that was the last place I wanted to be.
Yeah,
if I
you get the
wasn't
fuck out
required
and
to be
you-
in the building. Yes.
Don't look back.
Like, why are you here? Get out of here.
Rotten kids.
rotten kids.
For me,
What's
Shake
your
my
optimistic
fist
thing, Chad?
So this weekend, my dad and I have been painting the house.
Nice.
My mum used to be the official painter of the 3 of us, but she can't handle it anymore. Like her lungs just don't have it, and she gets like ill
man.
if she paints. So we kicked her out. She's gone to visit my aunt, and my dad and I have just been like painting and things, and
Nice.
it's been really, really fun. And like
I love painting. It's very cathartic.
and it's just like a very nice bonding thing, like home building, home improvement kind of thing. And yeah, it's been a nice weekend for doing that. I mean, she finished work at about like 4:30 yesterday on the Friday, and we immediately started as soon as she left, like started painting and like removing everything. We finished at about 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
last night, and then we got up and we started again at 8:30 today. So it's just been like full on the whole time. So, but it's been really fun. It's been a really nice time, and you know, it's a good skill to have. And I encourage anyone who has the opportunity to do that sort of renovation stuff to pick it up. It's a good skill that you can always learn. Yeah. So thank you guys. Thank you so much, Eric, for joining us and being the expert on video games. We really do appreciate you being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and Simone, do you want to explain to everyone what special thing we're doing next week?
Yeah, so I think as of this episode being released, the live stream will have already happened, but we are basically, for next week's episode, doing a birthday live stream, which we'll record and also put up. We're not going to be reviewing any movies, but we are going to be playing our favorite game from the minisodes, where we give each other random movie titles, and people have to guess what the movie's about. The more creative, the better, but the closer you are to the actual movie, the better you'll do.
Yes. And we're going to have some special guests on. We're going to have whoever we can from the Robots Ram family to come through and play the game with us and see how everyone does, and just like appreciate and you know, revel in the fact that we've somehow reached a year of this crazy podcast. Over 200 bad movies watched. Can you believe it?
I'm so sorry for you.
Because we can.
It has definitely affected our mental chemistry, that's for sure. Without question.
I have to say though, some things I wouldn't have found without you guys. So
thank you. That's good to know.
Do we say you're welcome? Because I don't know.
We can only apologize.
Well, to be fair, some of the movies that you've reviewed, I actually had seen before and did enjoy. Like, I remember you reviewed Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh, God.
I remember watching that as a kid, and I'm like,
classic from my childhood.
I vaguely remember seeing that in theaters with my mom.
Oh,
I actually really enjoyed it. So, you know, and some movies
I also genuinely love that movie. Like, I had it on VCR.
Some movies you've reviewed, I'm like, wait a minute, I actually liked that movie, and then you end up liking it too. I'm like, okay, so they're not bashing on it the whole time.
We try.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think there's like 3 categories of bad movies. There's those bad movies that you remember and you are genuinely shocked that they did badly. The bad movies which you're just like, yep, okay, that's fair enough. And then the bad movies which are like incredibly obscure and no one actually knows about, which are actually just super fun to watch and everyone should enjoy them.
Like zombie strippers.
Like zombie
strippers is
any of the Returning Dead series. Just what a dream.
So fun.
And you know what, I'm glad we've reached a year and many years to continue, I'm sure.
Yeah, congratulations guys.
Thank you.
My show's a few months from there, but
we're okay. You know, it's all fun. So, guys, if you want to reach out to us and tell us what you think of the podcast, send your congratulations or your commiserations for reaching this milestone in our history, please do. And where can they reach us, Simone?
They can talk to us on Facebook or Instagram at Fresh Tomatoes Podcast, on Twitter at Fresh Tomatoes MP. They can email us on freshtomatoespodcast@gmail.com. They can check out all the live streams. They can look up our YouTube channel, Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. Come say hi. And Eric, where can they find you?
I am on Twitter and Instagram. My personal feed is IanGold08 for both. You can check out my show Nintenfo on pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts. We talk about the latest Nintendo news and then go into specific details about specific video game series or characters. You can find me on Twitch, actually. I recently started streaming, twitch.tv/Sulior. That's my gimmick name, Suliore. I always joke with my co-host Durka about how when we actually get merch, I'm going to release a shirt that has that spelled phonetically, so basically know how to pronounce that. I stream Elder Scrolls, I stream Fallout. I can actually talk about Elder Scrolls for hours on end. In fact, I actually do sometimes, believe it or not. That's about it. My show Nintenfo does have Twitter. It's Nintenfo P. So yeah, that's about it.
Awesome.
Cool. Perfect.
Fantastic. And guys, while you're on the internet, why not leave us a rating? Why not leave us a review? It helps us reach more people, gets the optimistic message out there. And I think more than ever, we all need to be a little bit more optimistic. And as we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you and there's nothing you can do about it. You got to say it.
Oh, okay. I guess I could say it too. We love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
You're so mean to our
Yay.
guests. You're just a violent person.
Say it.
I could have done what Ken did and be like, who are you guys again?
Yeah, he was just like, I don't know any of you. It was great. It was so funny. And goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay.